Good time of day to all listening. This is a recap of the Melville City Chronicle. I'll be your humble storyteller. This is a Vampire the Masquerade game recap. We are using the 20th anniversary rule set with 2 players and 1 storyteller. I apologize if there are any long pauses as I try to gather my thoughts while I narrate. Before I go into the players, I'm going to explain the setting of the game. It takes place in a fictional city of Melville, Indiana. The city is a fairly darker town. It's a factory city prone to bouts of acid rain and fog, and it is generally only enjoyed by the people who live in it. It is independently run by an Assamite by the name of Julian Aceworth and his friends who make up a council known as Court 21. The city itself has been around since the very late 1700s, the year exactly 1777. It started out as a British territory and has been very prideful of that fact. Julian Aceworth and his friends found the city in the year 1784. Between the years of its founding and the time that Court 21 found it, it was being ran by the clan Giovanni, who were using the various burlesque houses and bars and things for whatever it is the Giovanni to do. It was at this time that Court 21 manipulated the mortal populace of the city to turning against the Giovanni, where they were all accused of witchcraft and either run out of town or burnt at the stake. It is to this day in the modern nights that Court 21 maintains rule over the town of Melville, Indiana. This is all very much to the chagrin of the Sabbat and the Camarilla, who are both very offended at the fact that there's a town being ran independently of either of them, just smack dab in the middle of Indiana, which, if I'm properly remembering it, is around this time ran exclusively by the Camarilla. The common clans currently residing within the city are the Assamites, the Brujah, the Gangrel, Toreador, Malkavian, Tremere, and Nosferatu, with uncommon clans being the Ravnos, who no one can get an accurate population check on, if there are any even living in the town, Clan Ventru and Clan Lasombra, who have stationed themselves in major businesses within Melville, Indiana, representing both the Camarilla and the Sabbat. Forbidden clans in the city are of course, the Giovanni and also the Zamitzi, who, upon any knowledge that a Zamitzi has made a territory claim in Melville, there is usually a blood hunt called upon one. To the best of everyone's knowledge, there are no presence of followers of Set within the city as well. Our story begins in late October of the current year 2016, roughly between the days of October 13th and 15th. We will be recapping the first and second sessions so far. Our protagonists are Jason Cooper, a Toreador journalist who is much maligned within Melville City. He writes the hard-hitting, real news about how the world is slowly dying, and many people really wish he would go away. He is played by Xeans, and our other protagonist is Guntram Abendroh, who is an occult bookstore and curio shop, who is also an occultist with an occultist family. He is played by Drakis, and they were both embraced within that 3-day period from just a little bit ago. They were embraced roughly at the same time by a Toreador and a Tremere who had given in to their beasts for just long enough to embrace new Childer. Julian Ainsworth being connected through the various Nosferatu and basically any vampire with Obfuscate as a discipline, very, very quickly found out about this and sent out a Assamite retrieval party to get a hold of them, i.e. spiking them in the chest with a stake. Naturally, they were more than a bit skeptical about their new lack of having a life. They, however, were very, very quickly convinced otherwise, and Julian and his assistants, Leopold and Geraldine, a pair of twin Toreador, not biological twins, but that's to be explained later, gave them the shakedown, so to speak, and explained to them both that because they were unapproved sires, that they had more or less two choices: either die or be his personal errand boys. And so they, of course, picked the smart option, and their first order of business was to go around town collecting the blood of the resident vampire populace. One of the big rules in Melville is that all vampires living in the city have to pay a blood tax to the king. And so Guntram and Jason are going around town collecting this tax, going to the Ventru and the La Sombra and all the various other NPCs, and they meet a Bruja and a gangrel of Johnny and Randy. And there's a bit of an altercation between them in which Johnny attempts to pickpocket Guntram. That little event plays itself out, and a successful perception and awareness check as they're walking away from Johnny and Randy's apartment reveals that they have gotten a hold of something that is just referred to as it, which is where we segue into session 2. And when they reveal this information to Julian reveals that Johnny and Randy are normally associated with a quote-unquote secret fight club that is being hosted out somewhere in the woods of the town. And they go and they explore the woods looking for this fight club. And they do eventually find the fight club. And when they find the fight club, they find the vampires are out and out killing each other for entertainment, which is very unsettling. In fact, I should probably have made them do a humanity check for witnessing all of that meaningless carnage. But I digress. Eventually, they sit around and they waiting for what the it that Johnny and Randy have referred to, and eventually this giant crate is wheeled out, and it's opened up, and it's revealing that there is a wereshark. And Jason and Guntram hightail it the hell out of there. And I'll admit, I'm a little disappointed that they didn't stay and fight, but we did kind of hype the absolute hell out of how dangerous were-creatures are in character creation. So I think that worked out pretty well, in my opinion. So one of the highlights, though, of this second session came before they found the Fight Club. They stumbled across a satanic ritual site. It was a round clearing that had been cleared of sticks and all sorts of things, covered in blood, and in the center of it was a well made of human body parts. It was not pleasant to look at all, and Guntram decided to burn it very quickly and hastily, which was smart because you can only imagine if hikers had discovered it instead of them. To also reiterate, the entire area had been cleared of sticks and burnable things, so there was really no worry of a forest fire. So they returned to King Julian, talking about what they had seen, and he informed them that the ritual site that they had found was a Bali sacrificial altar, much to his extreme displeasure to knowing the fact that Bali were in his city. And so all three of them actually came to the decision to, at least with the Fight Club, let that sort itself out, knowing that chances are the were-shark would just murder a straight line back to the ocean. However, when it came to the Bali, they decided that they were going to keep tabs on things like missing persons, murders, and other things within the local news, which is where the second session came to a close. This game is actually my first time at DMing a roleplay game of this caliber before. I've never actually DM'd out of a book system before. According to the players, they had a good time. I certainly had a good time, and I'm hoping that this game gets to get some good mileage. I have a lot of plans for it, and I'm hoping that they go well. I'm going to attempt to try and do more recaps like this in the future, depending on the reception and feedback. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about this, and again, sorry about any long pauses between words. I'm going to have to go back in and edit some of them out. But thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day or night or however it is. Thank you for listening.